Hey guys, it's Hans Hobbies, and today I have a video talking about one of my favorite RC crawlers of all time, the Redcat Everest Gen 7. Now, I do have quite the history with the Gen 7. It was, I believe, the second ever crawler I ever got, and being the second crawler I ever got really made me fall in love with it even more than if it had been my first ever crawler. Because the first ever full solid axle crawler I got was the Axial SCX-10 Deadbolt, the original like lime green version. And as much as I love that truck, there were some things I really wanted to upgrade on that. Where on the Gen 7, it came like that with all the upgrades I wanted to do on it out of the box. So that was a really big plus for me at the time. And also, it came much cheaper than the Deadbolt. When I bought my Deadbolt, it was $300 US approximately. This was back in 2018. Um, Whereas the Gen 7 came in at around 250 bucks. So uh, significantly cheaper than the Deadbolt, especially considering that this had a lot more like upgraded parts to say than the Deadbolt. And that's even a bigger like kind of almost apples to apples comparison, considering that the Gen 7 is technically a upgraded SCX-10 just by its design. But here in 2021, the RC crawler hobby has gotten much larger. We have a lot more options, a lot more competition going on. Redcat itself has released two new crawlers. They have the Gen 8 with a much more modern chassis, portal axles for 300 bucks approximately. They also released recently the Wendigo, which is kind of a rock crawler, and then the Marksman based on that Wendigo chassis. So a lot of options coming out from Redcat itself as well. So the question is the Gen 7 still a relevant crawler in 2021? Is it still worth getting? And what changes has Redcat made since the original release back in like 2017, 2018, something like that? So when I got mine, I got a green version like this. The Gen 7 comes in a Sport and a Pro. The Sport still comes in red and silver, whereas the Pro, which is this version, comes in green and black. And Pro basically adds all these extra details like the little what are the D-rings here, the fender flares, the inner fenders, the mirror, snorkel, all the scale accessories, the extra spare tire, a lot of other stuff, and as well as some of the other upgrades. Um, and when I got mine, it had been slightly updated from the absolute original like version 1 release, and the only update that that one had was the steering knuckle was updated to feature the high clearance steering knuckles, as well as the bent uh, steering link for more steering, as well as changing the skid plate to feature countersunk screws, so it's a nice flat area, whereas the original one had button screws right here. So it had some updates from the version 1 release, but it has been quite a long time since I got my Gen 7, which has since been very heavily upgraded with Gen 8 axles, custom shortened like Unimog, what's it called, UMG 10 body, and I just absolutely loved my Gen 7. But I wanted to see in 2021 what changes they have made, if they had made any updates. Some things I've noticed right off the bat. Obviously, since then, Redcat had got a new logo, so the box has been updated to match kind of their standard Redcat look. Um, and you can see on the truck itself, the Redcat logos, they're all changed to the updated Redcat font, as well as the badge in the front is the updated Redcat logo instead of the old one. Same thing in the back here in the license plate, it's the new Redcat logo right there. So they have done that update like they have done with a lot of their vehicles. But one problem that the old Gen 7 had, looking at the outside here, was the beadlock wheels. Now this does include full beadlock 1.9 wheels and tires. The tires on it are still the nice soft compound, very aggressive tread. I love these tires. I run these tires on a lot of my trucks. Um, but the two problems that people had with them was one, that they used memory foam, which is a little bit of a weird choice to use for this because they worked well. They were nice and soft and they worked well in the summer. But if you live in somewhere like where I do in Michigan, where it gets very cold in the winter, any sort of slight temperature drop, the foams become basically hard as rocks and basically become useless. So just squeezing these tires here, I can immediately tell they've gotten rid of those memory foams and just use some sort of other foam. It keeps the tires nice and structured on top of all this weight because this is quite a heavy vehicle. So it does the job of kind of keeping the tires upright but not being so hard as the and weird reacting as the memory foam. So really happy that they updated the foams on this. That's definitely gonna help the performance of this thing right out of the box in a lot more use scenarios. Another problem with the wheel and tire setup was the beadlock wheels could not actually hold the bead very well. You could literally just pull on it like this, and you could just basically unmount the whole tire from the beadlock without undoing any of the screws. But it looks like they have updated it, so the beadlocks actually do their job. I'm pulling quite hard here, and the beads are staying in place. So I'm very, very happy with that. I love the look of the beadlock wheels on the stock truck, but I couldn't use them because they just wouldn't hold the tire. But it's great to see that they've went ahead and fixed that main problem with the wheels and tires. Now, looking up under the body, the Gen 7 still features this hinge setup with the Velcro up front. A lot of trucks nowadays don't feature the body mounts on the hood anymore, so it's not really a special feature anymore like it was when this first came out. But I do personally prefer the magnet or Velcro mount over the body pin going underneath the bumper kind of deal. That's a more secure and clean way of doing things, but it makes it a little bit annoying for me personally to get at the body clips to undo it. This is just much easier to deal with. Um, it does include like a little hood prop here that you just pop in to the little integrated roll cage inside the body. If for those of you that don't know, and then this kind of just drops in. Where does it drop in? There used to be a hole somewhere. Can't find it now for some reason. But oh, wait, here it is. So put it there, and put the hood prop there, and then there you have the car propped up so you can work on the inside and take a look at the inside. Now, the servo is still the same Metal Gear steering servo, axle mounted as the original. They have changed the sticker on it, but that's basically it. The battery the Pro version includes is still the same Hexfly 3000 milliamp hour nickel metal hydride battery pack. This is a pretty decent battery pack for, especially for beginners. It lasts quite a while, being 3000 milliamps, and I've actually used my stock battery for quite a long time. I still have it, and I still use it quite a bit. It's kind of tired at this point, but yeah, this is actually a pretty good battery. The sport version will come with a 2000 milliamp battery, and that one's kind of trash, but still usable for a crawler. But yeah, really nice that the Pro version still includes this 3000 milliamp battery, and yeah, really like this battery for a beginner or just for a basic use battery. It does include a charger for it, but one thing I have noticed and I'm not quite happy about is Redcat has upgraded a lot of their new releases to have Dean's connectors or T-type connectors, but this one's still using their old banana style connector. I was really hoping that they would have updated this to have their T style connector because that's a lot more of a common connector. Nobody really uses this anymore. Redcat really needs to go back and standardize their old models to use all T connectors if they're going to be releasing T connectors. and just stop using these altogether, because nobody really uses these. Nobody really has plugs for these. A lot of chargers don't have this plug, so it makes it really difficult to use if you have this banana plug. And also, this it just makes it look kind of cheap, in my opinion. Um, but yep, it should still work and power up and all that good stuff. The receiver is still the same FlySky based receiver. Oops, FlySky based receiver. Just the sticker has been changed. The ESC is still the same with the same Hexfly logo. The motor is also the same 550 sized. I believe this is a 21 turn motor, brushed motor. And it's the same motor again, just with the sticker changed on it. For those of you again that don't know, the chassis is a kind of an aftermarket chassis made by BPC, which is pretty cool. And as you noticed, it does have the inner fenders going on right here, which is pretty cool. Even a lot of new 2021 release trucks, not all of them feature inner fenders, so it's really nice that this one does. The only thing that's a little bit weird is that it doesn't have that floorboard covering this middle bit, so that might hinders that might still let some dirt and mud into the inside, but this covers up most of it, so it's pretty good. And you can pretty easily mount up some uh, rock rails to the side here. You do have to cut this part of the fender flare off, but you can mount something on here at this point. There's a lot of upgrade parts for this at this point, so that's pretty cool. The transmission, the spur gear and the pinion gear is still exposed, so that's something you want to be careful about if a young person is going to be using this. Kind of wish they would have put a shroud on this. Redcats themselves do offer a 3D print file for a shroud for the transmission. I don't know why they just don't include it on here, but it is what it is. The battery straps have also featured the updated logo like a lot of our trucks. And looking underneath, it does feature full metal links, steel axle diff covers, diff like protectors. The drive shafts are plastic itself, the slider shafts, but the yokes are metal, which is very nice to see. These are really nice drive shafts. And then the fronts also feature universal or CV axles. And then again, metal here, metal servo mount plate, a lot of aluminum parts here, which a lot of axial vehicles still don't offer at this price point. So it's still a very great value. The radio is the same radio, but it has been updated. With the original one, I had the complaint that the on-off like LED was too bright, and they've kind of gone and covered that, so it's bright enough but not blinding. So that's a very nice update. And this is a really nice radio, so I'm really happy that they're still including this radio. So those are some of the updates I've seen. It's very minor updates so far, but still the same Gen 7 I remember loving. So as far as is it worth getting this truck still in 2021? I think if you are a absolute beginner into the hobby, which is what this truck is really aimed for, then I think it's still a pretty good option. If you don't really care that much about scale, like absolute scale realism, like licensed body and all that, this is a very good option. It looks realistic enough as a real truck. The axles aren't the most like scale accurate anymore, but performance wise, it does still perform. You're gonna be able to get out on the rocks and hang out with your friends, and have a really great time. And you'll as compared to some of the axial offerings and stuff like that, you'll be having a lot more features than a lot of some of the basic axial models. So that's also pretty cool. So I personally think that this truck still stacks up, but I will be comparing it to some other trucks I have at this point, because I do have a lot more crawlers now. So look forward to my comparison video for that. But until then, yeah, I'm loving the small incremental updates that they're doing to it. They should honestly do a better job of advertising those updates. But you know, Redcat be Redcat. And I'm happy they're making the changes. So if you guys enjoy this video, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.